All right. Get it going. There we go. All right. So welcome everybody. Tonight is our Fit for Life tribe. We are excited to have with us Bob Heilig. He is an amazing, amazing leader amongst entrepreneurs and the network marketing business. He's been in the business for over 10 years and is so highly successful in leading others and recruiting for his own team and even with customers. He is just amazing at what he does. And what I love is that he is so willing to share that with others. And he's been so great at wanting to make sure that we learn from his mistakes, which I think that is awesome because, you know, you've got it when you're going to have mistakes along this journey. And he's so willing to take what he's learned and give us a shortcut so that we don't have to make those same mistakes. And so I don't want to keep us any longer from hearing the wisdom that he's got to share with us. I thank you so much for being a part of our team tonight, about a part of our tribe chat, and just impart to us everything you can, man. Thanks so much for being here.
Awesome. You guys hear me okay? Julie, you were kind of a little choppy towards the end there, but I want to thank you for having me be a part of the call. And I am super excited to be here, and I'm looking forward to spending some time with all of you and hopefully being able to give you something of value that can help you in your business. And, you know, anytime I have a chance to be able to give back to a group of people that have been a supporter of my brand and what I do, I'm always, quick to do that. So I just want to express some thanks and some gratitude to all of you for supporting what I do and making this possible. So I'm, very thankful for that. And I hope that tonight, I can give you a couple of things that can help you be more successful in your business. And that's always my goal every time that I speak to a group of leaders and people that are excited about being a network marketing professional, that my experience, as Julie said, could provide some lessons for you. And I think that, you know, when I think about what makes me effective as a trainer when it comes to network marketing, it's pretty clear to me what that is. It's because I struggled so much in my early days. And I've tried literally, I feel like I know I've tried everything possible that doesn't work. And finally, you know, through the School of Hard Knocks, started to kind of figure things out for myself. But it took me a little while. My first year, I wasn't really successful. As a matter of fact, I wasn't able to recruit a single person my entire first year in network marketing. I was only able to acquire 2 customers, myself and my mom. So that was kind of like my success story after year 1. And, you know, when I think back to that first year, I remember how difficult it was. And maybe you're here tonight watching this training, and maybe you were like I was in that first year where you are struggling. And you know what? As excited as you are about your business, it's not happening as fast as you thought it would. And maybe you're starting to question yourself and, you know, wonder whether you have what it takes, and you're lacking a little bit in confidence and belief. Maybe fear is something that's really kind of paralyzing you and keeping you from doing the things that you know that you should be doing and that you could be doing. And, you know, I mention all that because I know exactly how that feels. I mean, I spent so much time in that place. And I think that my message to you is I want to let you know that all of that is a normal It's a normal part of the process of being an entrepreneur. And when I think back to my first year, I'm actually very thankful for the fact that I struggled, because I think my struggles are what made me who I am today. And I think a lot of times when we go through adversity and difficulty, we don't see it for what it is. You know, it's really, there are lessons that we learn along the way that help us enrich our story. And that when we finally do get to that point of success and being a leader of other people, the struggles and the hardships that you went through are the things that are going to allow you to make a connection with the people that you lead. You know, I heard it said this way, that, you know, we impress people with our strengths, but we connect with them through our weaknesses. And it's the fact that we do have, you know, that experience to relate back to say, yeah, I know what it feels like. That's the thing that's going to make you a great leader. And so if you're on here tonight and you're frustrated, my hope is that I can give you a couple of insights that I got that finally allowed me to turn the corner and have success in my business. And then maybe you are already a leader and you've already had some success, but your business is starting to slow down a little bit. Maybe you're not duplicating leaders as quickly as you want to, or momentum is starting to change. And I remember so many times I thought I had it figured out, only to be knocked down to my knees again when things slowed down. And, it's a constant learning curve, but I'm going to share with you some things tonight that regardless of where you're at in your business can help you. And I think here was one of my biggest kind of aha moments for me, because everybody always asks me, what helped you turn the corner? What helped you go from not recruiting a single person your first year to over the remaining 10 years of my career? I earned over 7 figures in the profession. My last team that I built we had over 100,000 people worldwide. So, I built some big businesses, and people say, what was the thing that really helped you turn the corner? And I'll tell you what it was for me. I reached a point through sheer just frustration and not knowing what else to do that I finally had to look at myself in the mirror and admit to myself that I was really part of the biggest part of the problem. And here's what I mean by that. I can remember my first year in network marketing. I spent all of my time looking for that one right person that was going to turn everything around for me. And that's what I thought it was about. I thought success was about getting lucky. And I could remember I would even catch myself saying sometimes I would see other people that would, get involved after I did, and they'd blow right by me and hit that rank that I was struggling to get to. And I remember finding myself saying, man, I wish I could be as lucky as that person. Look at that leader that they recruited. Why can't I be that lucky? And that's what I thought. I had this kind of false assumption that success had everything to do with luck. And that I eventually learned that wasn't the case. Here was the thing for me. When it really started to turn around for me, I stopped looking for the one right person, and I started to become the one right person. And I finally got to the point where I said, I need to take responsibility for my success. And I want to talk to you a little bit about this word responsibility, because I truly believe that for a lot of people, this is one of the biggest issues that's why they struggle in their business. Guys, if you have background noise, just hit mute. Just mute out just so that we don't have any background noise. It always every Zoom I do, this happens, so it's all good. But so let's talk about responsibility, because I think a lot of people, they don't understand the importance of this word when it comes to your success. Responsibility is, quite simply, when you break down the word, it is you having the ability to decide how you respond to negative situations and adversity that happens in your business. And I think one of the reasons why people struggle, especially in a network marketing business, because let's be real, a lot of people that get into network marketing, they call themselves entrepreneurs, and they're the first person to say, I'm an entrepreneur, but they have no clue what that means. They don't know what it means to build a business. They're not running it like a business. They're treating it like a lottery ticket. They're trying to put in minimum effort and get maximum results. They're not showing up and consistently working their business every single day. They don't have that mentality of a traditional business owner where they know they're going to have to put in a lot of hard work, a lot of invested hours up front just to build a foundation for a profitable enterprise. But we don't look at our business that way. But when it comes to adversity, people telling us no, people saying what you're doing isn't going to work, people signing up and getting the products and then returning them because they don't like them, people joining your business and then quitting, right? People joining doing something and then going into the witness protection program. All of these things are the things that we have to deal with, right? Like a business like this, it's such an emotional roller coaster. We have these extreme highs and these extreme lows. Here was one of the biggest lessons I learned. I needed to learn to not get too high with the highs or too low with the lows. And I had to realize that when something bad happens, I have the ability to decide how I respond to that. You know, one of my favorite mentors of all time, Jim Rohn, Jim Rohn says that, the winds of change are going to blow on us all. The winds of change are the adversity and the failure and the negativity and the things that we deal with. He said, what will determine where you end up in your life is the set of your sail. The set of your sail is you deciding, how am I going to respond when something bad happens? Am I going to view failure as a teacher? Am I going to view a negative event as an opportunity for me to learn and become better? And when I started to take responsibility for my own success, and I stopped blaming other people, and this is a sensitive subject, because here's what I can almost promise for some of you: if you're struggling because you're practicing blame. It's your upline's fault. It's your team's fault. Your team sucks. It's their fault. It's your upline. They're not supporting you the way they should. I have a negative spouse or a negative person that's not supporting me, and that's why I'm not successful. Well, the company didn't ship my order in time, or they messed up this. We're always blaming. Now, I'm not saying that these things don't happen. Guess what? That's business. One of the things that I've learned about opportunity is it's a two-sided coin. As big as the opportunity that you have, you will have indirect proportion on the other side of that coin, a lot of negative stuff and a lot of pain in the ass stuff that you're going to have to deal with. It's going to be a lot of things that you're not going to want to deal with or put up with. And it's testing you. The business is testing you. This business is just difficult enough to weed out the ones that don't really want it, that don't have a big enough dream. So you have to learn, when something bad happens, you got to learn how to discipline your emotions. Because if your emotions determine if you're going to work your business, you will never be successful. You have to develop some emotional maturity, because when something bad happens and that gets you discouraged and you don't work your business for 2 to 3 days because of that, that's emotional immaturity. That's what it is. You have to learn how to be able to, when something bad happens, say, okay, I get it, but I'm not going to let that keep me from doing the things that I need to do every day to create success, right? One of my favorite books of all time, it's called The Slight Edge. And if you haven't read it, I highly recommend you read it. The Slight Edge talks about this principle, so powerful, that every single moment of every day, we're making a decision, a choice. We're either practicing a simple discipline, which is a positive action, right? Those are things like talking to a prospect, giving a presentation, sharing your products, reading a good book, going to a training, getting on a Zoom. These are all simple disciplines that if you do those things every day over time, it creates positive results. Or you're practicing what's called a simple error in judgment. And that is a negative action. That's not talking to the prospect. That's not giving the presentation out of fear. That's not sharing your product because you're worried if somebody will like it or not. That's not going to the training, not reading the book. Like every moment of every day, we make a choice, either good or bad. And here's my biggest takeaway from this book, The Slight Edge. And I remember learning this principle that I'm about to share with you, and it was like, it was life-changing to me. Here's what the book says. You have to learn how to start focusing on activity and not results. And here's what that means. This is where most people go wrong. They learn how to do something, right? So you learn how to go talk to a prospect, you learn how to share your information, and you go out and you do it for 7 days, for 14 days, for 30 days, and you don't see the result that you want. Nobody joins. Nobody buys. And what do most people do? They stop out of discouragement because they're focused on the result. See, what you have to learn how to do is focus on activity. And here was the thing that hit me like a Mack truck. I read it in the book. By the time you start to see the results that you want, 90% of the work is already done. I'm going to say that again. That is so important to understand. By the time you see the result you want, 90% of the work is done. So where do most people go wrong? They don't focus on activity long enough to get to the result. See, the thing that just drives me crazy is How many people quit right before they're about to see that breakthrough? How many people get discouraged and give up right before that next person that could have given them that result? How many people quit long before they give themselves time to get good, right? Because that's a function as well. A lot of you starting out, let's just be real, you're not where you need to be right now in order to hit the top rank in your company. But that's okay. Here's why. Because you can become that person. And then so here's what I started to do. When my business really turned the corner, I stopped trying to compare myself to other people, because that's always a danger in a business like this, right? Compare-itis. We're always judging about what we have or haven't done versus what other people have. And listen, you can't ever win in that type of a situation, because anytime we do that, here's what we do. We take all of our worst qualities and traits in our eyes, and we compare them to that other person's best qualities. It's not even an apples to apples comparison, but here's what you have to learn how to do. If you want to compare yourself to anyone or anything, compare yourself to yourself. Compare who you were yesterday to who you are today. Compare who you are today to who you're going to be tomorrow. And if you make it a goal to be just a slightly better version of yourself every single day, and you're focusing on the activity. Now, how do we become a slightly better version of ourselves every day? It's pretty simple. We read a couple of pages of a good book, right? We listen, instead of listening to the radio on the drive to work, we listen to a podcast or something that can help us become, more skilled or help us think better. We take action. Guys, some of you are lacking in confidence because you're not taking action every day. Like talking to one new person, giving your products to one new person. Like if you're doing just a little bit every day, focusing on what we call the income producing activities, right? Talking to new people, sharing the products, doing things that are actually going to give you a chance to make money. Here's what happens. You immediately start feeling more confident. Now, I know what's the problem with that is. The problem is that fear holds us back. Yes, we know we need to talk to people. Yes, we know we need to share the products and give a presentation. Some of you are fearing becoming a leader. Look, I'm going to tell you one of the things that was a very real thing for me that I never understood until years afterwards. When I finally first started having a little bit of success and I would recruit some people and then I'd have a little bit of a team that would start to grow, I actually used to self-sabotage myself. And I never understood why, and here's what I figured out. I used to self-sabotage myself because I was afraid of being a leader. As bad as I said I wanted a team, I actually was deathly afraid of having the team, because what if I couldn't lead them the way that I needed to? What if I couldn't be that person to them? What if they were looking to me and they figured out that I was a fake, that I wasn't who I appeared to be, that I wasn't confident, that I didn't have all the skills to support them? I barely had it figured out. How the heck am I going to support someone else? And I used to self-sabotage myself. And guys, I want to talk to you a little bit about fear. You have to learn, if you really, really want to make it in this business, you have to learn how to change your relationship to fear. My entire life, I avoided everything that I feared. And it's the reason why most of my life, I was an underachiever. I was, 30 years old, like 4 years into my career as a network marketer. I was 30 years old, dead broke, living on a friend's couch. Like not a success by anyone's measure. And that was because anytime I felt fear about something, I ran away from it until I learned how to change things. And what I started to do is I started to learn how to use fear as a compass. And I started to recognize that the things in my life that I feared the most, when I could bring myself to the courage to actually do those things, it was in those actions that I saw the biggest breakthroughs of my life. Let me give you an example. I talk about this a lot, and I know that some people struggle believing this. My second biggest fear my entire life has been public speaking. I hate the sound of my own voice. It wasn't until I joined a network marketing company and was basically forced in front of the room to open up a meeting. It was a Saturday morning, a training. There was 30 people in the room. It was down in, we were down in the Philadelphia airport at the Ramada Hotel. I was probably at that time, I was in my business about 7-8 months. Didn't have any success, but somebody must have saw something in me and said, hey, listen, we want you to open up the meeting today. Now, mind you, there's not even 30 people in the room. This is not that big of a deal. But to me, it was the scariest moment of my life. And I can remember going up there, and I don't remember what I said, but I remember I forgot my name. I had a cup of water in my hand that I was shaking so badly, I was spilling water on my hands. It was a horrifying experience. And I am quite certain it was one of the worst openings of a meeting in the history of network marketing. But here's what's interesting. I got through it. And as horrifying as it was, I remember leaving that meeting, and I remember saying to myself, the next time that happens, because I knew it was going to happen again, I'm going to be better. And that one experience of somebody basically having to force me to get in front of the room opened up something inside of me that started a process of me learning and growing and facing my fears. And then guess what? In me facing my fears and pushing past that kind of uncertainty, guess what I figured out? I was actually pretty good when I got in front of the room. I was actually not a terrible public speaker once I got over that fear. And here's what's so crazy about this. I sit here today talking to all of you, and I make a living today by sharing my story and talking and communicating. Like, I am so certain that my purpose in life is to inspire other people through my words and my story. Like, that's my calling. And then I think back, what if I never got over that fear? What if I never joined a network marketing company? What if somebody never forced me to get in front of that room? What would I be doing today? Now, I'd like to think that I eventually would have found my way, but my point to you is this, in sharing all this. I want you to think about what are the things that you fear. And I am going to tell you that there is a reason why you fear those things. And you fear the thing. Now, we're assuming that you're not in mortal danger. But if you are fearing something in your business, I can almost guarantee you there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is because your soul deep down knows that that is the very thing that you should be doing. If you're fearing being a leader, I can almost guarantee you were born to be a leader. If you are fearing doing a live video, I can almost guarantee you in doing that live video will create the breakthrough that you've been looking and hoping and praying for in your life and in your business. You know, I'm sharing this concept that's from a book that I read called The War of Art. And The War of Art calls what we're talking about resistance. And here's how I want to here's what I want to share with you in closing, and then we'll take some questions. In this book, The War of Art, the very first line of the book, like I could have literally read the first sentence and I would have been done. I got what I needed to get out of that book. Here's what it says. The book starts out saying this: most of us have two lives, the life that we live and the unlived life within us. And the unlived life within every one of you, and I'm looking at least 25 of you right now on this screen, the unlived life in every one of you is that greatness that is inside of you, that is waiting to get out. That you are going to have to be able to face your fears to make that a reality. See, there's a really powerful story about Michelangelo. Michelangelo was asked late in his life by someone who was writing a story on him. They asked him, they said, how do you create such amazing statues and works of art? And Michelangelo's answer, I think, was very, very interesting. And here's what he said. He said, I don't create the statues. He said, the statues already exist in the marble. All I have to do is chip away the excess material. And I want to tell you that so it is with you. And I want you to understand that your perfect self, which is already there, the greatness, every one of you can be amazing leaders in this company, being yourself. Here's what you have to learn to do, though. You have to learn how to chip away the fearful thinking that has surrounded your perfect self. And I end with a statistic that I've been talking a lot about because I think it's so powerful. And that statistic is 400 trillion to 1. And if you're not familiar with what that means, those are the odds that you were even born. A lot of people don't realize that you would literally be more likely to win the lottery 9 times in your life than you were to even be here. You've already won the biggest lottery of your life by being here. And here's the problem. We don't give ourselves credit. We're too, listen, you would never talk to other people the way you talk to yourself. You have to learn how to start recognizing the potential and the capacity that you have to be successful, but it's not going to come out on its own. You got to be willing to face your fears. You got to be willing to take action. And I promise you, if you do, amazing things begin to happen. Look, you don't have an excuse. You've got an amazing leader in Julie. You've got an incredible company that has amazing products, right? You've got everything that you need. The only variable is you. So if you're not successful, then there's nowhere else to go than in the mirror and be honest with yourself and say that in order for things to change, I've got to change. And look, Julie might not tell that to you, but I will. Because I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to tell you what you need to hear. And I feel like if I can't be honest with people, then I'm doing you a disservice. And, I'm incredibly passionate about helping people create results in their life. And I remember what it was like. And I remember I needed to get a kick in the teeth sometimes for me to wake up and say, okay, I get it. It's time to go to work. So my hope is that, something that I've shared here with you tonight can give you some inspiration, some motivation to say, you know what, I can do this. I don't care how bad it's been. Look, I don't care how many times you've quit. Just keep moving forward, and amazing things can happen if you're willing to just do the simple things that are required in a business like this. So, Julie, I'll kick it back to you, and I don't know how you want to do this, but if we want to take a couple of questions here, I'm happy to do that.
Yes, that's awesome. Can you guys hear me? I know I was breaking up earlier.
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay, great. Oh my goodness. I don't know about y'all. Like my hand is cramping from writing so much. Bob, that is like amazing. And all of us are like over here amening because everything you're saying, and I just gave him a very loose outline of what to talk about, but man, you hit the nail on the head. I love everything you said about fear. And just be, doing the work and looking at ourselves. I have a question. And while I'm asking this question, guys, y'all think about a question you have, you can drop it in the chat. Or if you, once I'm done and Bob is done answering, if you want to unmute, we can do it that way as well. My question was this, because I love the fact that you're really real about the fact that it takes work. I mean, what we do is work, and doing that daily activity. So my question is this, one of the things that, and I know you've been around network marketing enough to know this, is that people love to talk about kind of they sell it as an easy way to make money. Yeah. Okay. And granted, you do get a lot of return for like when you put in consistent work, you get the return. But how do you walk that line of not scaring people away with the reality of the fears that you've just talked about? Because, you want to be real, but at the same time, help them see that it is an amazing way. It is the future of,
Yeah.
you know, of how you can, you know, have that time freedom, that financial freedom, and that kind of thing. How do you do that?
Yeah, that's good. That's a great question. So here was one of my, when we talk about leadership, here was one of the things that it took me a while to learn. And it's this: we have one of our biggest jobs as a leader of someone else, whether you personally sponsor them or you're working and training them. One of our biggest jobs is to set proper expectations. And I think a lot of times, out of fear of not wanting to scare people away, we try to paint a little bit too rosy of a picture, you know. And I think, listen, anytime I hear somebody say something like it sells itself, or, you know, I'll do it, I'll build it for you, or it's a lie. Look, if it sold itself, the company wouldn't need you. There wouldn't be an opportunity, right? And I think that what I learned to do was paint a realistic picture, but do it in the context of still maintaining, you know, the vision of what's possible. And Julie, what I've learned is the right people are not afraid if you tell them it's going to be hard work. As long as they know that that hard work is worth it, that there's light at the end of the tunnel, that they see the vision for the bigger picture, that what we're looking to create here is financial freedom, financial independence. And guess what, guys? That ain't easy to do. And anybody that has half a brain, that if you're showing them this big opportunity, but then at the same time you're telling them how easy it is, that's one of the reasons why people run away from you, because they know that that's not true. Anybody that is a good prospect knows that they're going to have to work hard. And you know what? I want to make sure that I prepare them for what I know they're going to face. Look, here's some of the things you need to tell people. You need to tell them that some of their friends and family are going to tell them they shouldn't do it. You need to tell them that people are going to buy the products and then return them. You need to tell them that people are going to sign up and then quit. You got to tell them that stuff. Because guess what? When it happens, if they're prepared for it, it makes it easier for them to deal with it. They don't feel alone. They know that it's part of the process. You got to get people focused on long-term thinking. You know, I used to tell every new person that I brought into the business, I used to tell them three things. I used to tell them, first and foremost, I used to affirm their decision. I used to say, listen, I'm proud of you for making a decision. I'm excited. Things are going to be different from you from this point forward, right? I'm affirming their decision to join me. But then at the same time, I'm also telling them, I need you to know that the success or the failure of your business is going to be dependent on you, not me. This is not my business. This is your business. I am here to support you, and I am responsible to you, not for you, meaning that I'm not going to do it for you. I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to be there and I'm going to help you. I'm going to hold your hand until you figure it out, but you still got to take action. And then the last thing that I would tell people is I would say, look, my job at the end of the day is to make you independent of me as quickly as possible. Doesn't mean that I'm abandoning you, but I want you to understand that everything that I'm doing for you right now, you are watching and listening and learning because you're going to be doing it pretty soon. I'm giving presentations for you right now, but I'm doing it because I'm teaching you how to give a presentation. I learned that the right people will rise to the level of expectation that you have for them.
Oh, that's good.
So when you speak to your new people, don't speak to them as who they are. Speak to them as to who they have the potential to be. So if I'm working with Julie, I'm like, Julie, listen, I'm so excited. You are going to crush it. You are going to be a superstar. And you know what? Because I see so much potential in you, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start grooming you for success today. It's your first day. And you know what? Over the next 30 days or 60 days, I'm going to be teaching you the business. I'm going to be giving the presentations. You're going to be learning. But I want you to pay close attention because you're going to be giving the presentations real soon. You're going to be the one doing the follow-ups, right? I'm setting that expectation. I'm believing in them, maybe when they don't even believe in themselves. Here's one other thing that I'll give you as a really important piece of advice. every new person that you bring into the business, you need to have this philosophy with them. You need to treat them like they are going to be your next superstar, but you need to work with them as if they're going to quit tomorrow.
Oh, that's good.
So what would that mean? Well, if I treated you like you were my next superstar, I'd be speaking not as who you are, but as who you can be. I'd be telling you how amazing you are, how much I believe in you, right? I'd be treating you like a superstar, but I would be working with a sense of urgency. I would be moving heaven and earth to try to get into your list to recruit one person, thinking that if I don't, you're going to quit tomorrow. And if you operate with that core philosophy, anytime you're training a new person, you will be 10 times more effective. Now, you're not always going to be able to help create a result for your new person, but if that should never be for a lack of effort. The number one mistake I see people making is they have no urgency whatsoever when they bring a new person in to create a result for them. They overwhelm them with material and training and information. They're not moving people right into action. You've got to create a result to get people excited and locked in. So those are just some of the things that I've learned over time when it comes to working with people and building a team, that I think that we all have, room to improve when it comes to that type of stuff.
Oh, that is absolutely fantastic. I love that urgency to create a result, to help people find a result. That's really great. A couple of questions we had is, Amy asked, why didn't you quit your first year? Because it took you a year.
I wanted to answer that one. So the great question. I guess I was a glutton for punishment, but I'll tell you why I didn't quit. I didn't quit that first year. 2 reasons. Number one, and these are very valuable lessons. Number one, I didn't quit because I had a dream that was far bigger than any obstacle and adversity that I was facing. I got really clear on what I wanted out of this business long before I had any success. And I had that goal and that vision for the life that I wanted to create. I had that very clear in my mind. And that was one of the things that got me through that first year. But I'll tell you what was probably even more the reason. It was the relationships that I had with my leaders. I had a couple of key people that developed a relationship with me, a friendship. And that's such an important thing for us to learn as leaders, is that we have to focus first and foremost on yes, we want to create results, but we will also want to make sure that we have relationships with our key people. Because what I've learned is that people will quit on a company, but they will not quit on a friend. And I stuck around because you want to know what? The people that I were hanging out with and my friends were the people that were in the company. And I wasn't going to quit on them. Now, there is a danger in that from a leadership perspective, we have to be able to balance becoming someone's friend and building a relationship, and sometimes doing and saying things to them that they don't want to hear, but that we know will help them, right? When it comes to leadership, you can't have everyone like you and help them at the same time. Sometimes you have to deliver a hard message, right? If you really care about someone, sometimes you have to be willing to say things to them that they don't want to hear from you. Because sometimes we need to be that person in someone else's life to wake them up. So there is a delicate balance, but I didn't quit that first year because I just knew the other option, working for someone else for the rest of my life, wasn't an option for me. And that's the thing that kept me around, and that's the thing that kept me going.
That's awesome. I love that. Let's see. I think there were 2 more. The other one was, you had mentioned Slight Edge and War of Art. What other books have you found helpful?
So, I mean, I could talk about some of the basics for network marketing. If you haven't read GoPro, you have to read GoPro by Eric Worre. I mean, that's probably the number one book I recommend for people that are looking to, there's 2 different types of books. There's books that will increase your skill set. GoPro is probably the best one. And then there's books that will help you in terms of your mindset and philosophy. The Slight Edge and The War of Art. Those probably be like the top 3 books I would recommend. If you guys haven't read those, you need to read those like ASAP. I'll give you a couple of other ones. If you're looking to improve your leadership, My favorite book of all time on leadership is called The 5 Levels of Leadership by John Maxwell. My number one book on leadership. And if you're looking for a book, like if you're struggling with finding time to build your business and your productivity and you're finding it difficult to get motivated during the day, you need to read The Miracle Morning. And you will hate me for recommending that book to you, but you will love me at the same time, and you'll get it when you read it. But that book was life-changing to me, for sure.
Who is that one by?
That's by Hal Elrod.
Awesome.
Yeah, so those would be some really good ones. I literally, I'm looking around my office right now, and I literally have like 40 books that I've bought in the last 2 months that I haven't read yet. I mean, I'm like a voracious reader, but that is important. Now, some of you are like, but I'm not a reader. Well, then get Audible. Go to audible.com and listen to the books, right? So I mean, there's really no excuse. Now, here's the key though, and this is what the Miracle Morning is going to teach you. You can't do your personal development during your business hours. You can't be reading a book at lunch. You need to be making calls. You need to be doing follow-ups. You need to be prospecting. Like, we all have a limited amount of time as it is. We have to be very intentional about working our business, because reading a book is not an income-producing activity. Reading a book ain't going to make you any money. It's reading the book and then taking the insights or the inspiration and then taking action. So you got to make sure your personal development time is not during your productive business hours. Sometimes that requires us to be a little bit more thoughtful in the way that we run our week.
That's awesome. I love those. So we had another question. I'm sure you get this, and I've heard you reply to this before, but I would love to hear if you have any fresh thoughts about when you have people, when they follow up, you respond, you follow up with them, but they don't respond, kind of like going into the witness protection program. What, how do you, or did you handle that, or what's your strategy there?
Yeah, I mean, after I tried to, if I followed up with somebody 2-3 times and they weren't responding to me, I'd probably just move on most of the time.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I know that prospecting is a sorting process. It's not a selling process.
Oh,
I'm only looking for people. I'm looking for people that it's the right time. Timing has everything to do with with prospecting. And I think that one of the mistakes that we make is we don't talk to enough people. I mean, literally the solution to every problem you have ever had, have now, or will ever have is activity.
Okay.
Talk to more people. I bet you I could count on one hand the amount of times I would have somebody on my team call me up and complain because things aren't going well, that I said to them, hey, let me ask you a question. How many new people did you talk to today? The answer was always 0. And then I said, how many new people you talked to yesterday? 0. See, when you stop taking action, that's when you start getting discouraged. That's when you start focusing on the wrong things. So you have to stay consistent in your activity. You got to stay consistent in your follow-ups. You got to stay consistent in your reach-outs. If you do what I teach and you're creating content on social media, right, couple videos a week, you got endless amounts of prospecting that you can do, people that are engaging with your videos, right? There's no reason why, you could use LinkedIn. Right? I have a course on LinkedIn if you want to learn how to use LinkedIn. There is no shortage of people on the planet for you to talk to. If it's the mindset that you have of lack, right? You need to think more abundantly, and the last time I checked, I mean, there's about 7 billion, right? And they're still making new ones every day. Right. So you'll never run out of people to talk to. What you will run out of is creativity to find a way to expand your existing network.
That's awesome. Well, along those same lines, the other question that was in there, we all know that you are amazing at your live videos, which it just cracked me up that you're saying that was one of your fears of public speaking when I watch you every morning. But so I know you do your live videos usually in the morning. What's your strategy there? Do you have one? Is it just depend on your network? What would you say is the best time to do a live video, or did you just kind of put your feelers out and see when you got the most response?
Well, there's a strategy to everything I do on social media. Okay. I'm not on social media to make friends anymore. I'm on social media to make an impact and make money. No two ways about it. And I think that, you don't have to do it at the same time. I do it at the same time, or I did it when I started at the same time, because that was the only way I was going to follow through. That was my personality. I knew if I didn't put out into the world that I'd be here every day at 8 a.m. and people were expecting me to be there, I wasn't going to do it because of my introverted nature. That's just how I am. It took me a year to do my first video. I put it off for an entire year. So that was the thing that made me do it. Now, some of my students and some of my clients, the sheer thought of having to do anything at the same time every day other than show up for work is like, gives them an anxiety attack.
Right.
So you got to do what works for you. My message to you is this. I don't care when you do it. Just do it. Just do them. Now, most of the people that are going to see the videos are going to see the replay anyway. So as long as you're doing them and getting them out there, in terms of content and strategy, you know, I think sharing things that you're learning as an entrepreneur, personal development, personal growth things, something, you know, maybe you learned something tonight. I mean, look, here's what you realize eventually, everything is content. Like if I were you and I like every note that you've literally written down tonight is a video. Every concept is a new video. All I did was I started learning out loud. I started sharing with people things that I was learning. Now here's the key. It don't even matter if you've used it. Doesn't matter. See, people think that, well, I got to have credibility. I got to be successful to teach. No, you don't. You don't. Your credibility comes from the value that you give others. So if you share something with me that I find helpful, that helps me create a result in my life, I don't care if it worked for you. Doesn't matter to me. You know, I've been doing this for a year and a half, and I've had thousands of students and clients, like maybe 2 or 3 times have I ever had somebody ask me, so tell me about how much money you made in network marketing. How big was your, it never happens because I am credible, not because of what I've done. I am credible because of what I do for other people.
That's good. Which is the same that, and you know, since we are a health and wellness company, wouldn't you say that that would also be a good mindset in that you want to help others learn that they don't have to wait to share, like that sense of urgency, like you talked about before, that's all wrapped up in that mindset.
Yeah. I mean, if I were in your company, I'd probably be doing like 3 videos a week, 2, if that scares you, do 2. I don't think you need to do more than 3 ever, honestly. I think, you know, because the whole point of doing a video, if you're in a network marketing business, is what happens when the video's done. You're only doing videos to create opportunities for your prospecting. So everybody that likes or comments or shares that video, they need to be getting a message from you. Hey, thanks for liking my video. Amy, how have you been? What's new? Blah, 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 blah. Hey, Aaron, thanks for sharing. Like you're literally all day after that or whenever you have time, you're sending messages. You're starting conversations. I'd be doing probably 1 video a week about health and nutrition and wellness. None of which I'm trying to sell my products. I'm trying to educate and add value. And then maybe at the end of the video, I throw something in like this. Hey guys, if you're looking for any recommendations, if you don't have a product that you already love, shoot me a message and maybe I can help you out. Something like that.
That's awesome.
And you'll get messages all day and you'll sell all day just by doing that. A subtle little call to action at the end. And then I would probably be focusing the other 2 videos a week or 1 video a week on something that's more personal development and personal growth related. Now, a lot of times people are like, yeah, but how's that help me build my business when I'm talking about that stuff? Well, it helps you build your business because you start to get the attraction and the attention of people that are looking to become better versions of themselves that are the perfect prospect for you to recruit onto your team. The person that you want to recruit, they want a better life. They want to be a better version of themselves, right? They want to improve. And if you can be that to them, even in the slightest way, by giving them quotes and concepts and strategies, that's going to make you 10 times more attractive to them as a potential business partner. And 90% of my prospecting and my selling happens behind the scenes through private messages. It's not to say you can't and you shouldn't post about your company. I think you should every so often. Just don't make it the majority of what you do, because if that's all you're doing, you may or may not realize this, but I'll tell you, you are turning people away from you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Love that. And so the last question there, you know, I know that obviously, because we share, because, doing things like live videos, and I know you know this, that it can be that you have a worry about safety. So how do you approach that? Like, and is there anything that you use to help distinguish, where you should draw a line or that kind of thing, and what you expose?
Safety in terms of like weirdos that are watching the videos?
Yeah, I guess so. And I know that I think within our team, yes, that's what she's saying. We had some issues there.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, you can't. There's nothing you can do to prevent weirdos from trying to come into your world on social media. What you can do is make sure that your profile is private. So have a private profile and just make your 2 to 3 videos public, so that weirdo can't see anything but your public videos. And what I do is, the moment that I have determined that somebody has motives that are not in line with what I'm looking to attract, they are immediately blocked and they're gone from my world. I have no problem. I mean, I got dozens of people that I blocked on Facebook that were just, knuckleheads. Now, I realize that the issues of a female are much different than a male, right? You're going to deal with that a lot more than I will. Mm-hmm. But I think that you get to decide who you allow into your world and who you don't. Now, if you get a friend request from somebody, you don't have to approve it. Just leave it. That person, if they send you a friend request, they automatically become a follower. And followers, they can see only your public posts. So you control the content that they get to see. And if somebody sends me a weird message, I don't respond. I just delete it.
That's good. So I think it's a lot mindset of, not like what you talked about before, not letting that fear control you, but also the personal development. If you aren't familiar with the tools that you're using, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of those things, become familiar how you have the power in that setting.
Yes.
I think is what you're saying there. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, Julia, you can't, I call this the magnet effect. You can't attract the people that you want without repelling the ones you don't.
Right.
And it's, what you and I found what you focus on is what you attract into your life. And I just don't focus on the negativity or the weird people. I focus on the people. I'm not going to let a handful of knuckleheads keep me from serving and adding value and making an impact the way that I know that I'm responsible to do.
Yeah. Just like you said, we need to let people know up front that you are going to have naysayers. You are going to have quitters.
Yeah.
You're going to have those things. I love that you said prepare them for that, because I think that then it's not this shock and, oh my gosh, I've done something wrong. Like, oh, I know this, like preparing them for the process.
One of my best friends, who was supposed to be a best man in my wedding, when I first started doing videos, it was right after we had, we were in a network marketing company together that got shut down. So it was a really tough time for everybody that was involved. And I started doing videos out of desperation because I had nothing else. There was no money coming in. Like, I needed to create something. And he became very negative and jealous of me doing it, to the point where he started literally bad-mouthing me on Facebook. I had to block him. Now, mind you, this was somebody that I lived with for 5 years, was going to be a best man in my wedding, was not even invited to my wedding.
Wow.
And I had that happen with multiple people. And I think that, now what's interesting, it's an interesting end of the story. He actually wound up apologizing and reconciling with me, and I'm coaching him now.
Oh, wow.
But I dealt with a lot. I'll tell you this. Some of you are like, it's not happening to me. It's because you ain't done enough yet. You haven't done enough yet. You ain't made a big enough impact. You haven't got enough attention. Because the moment you start getting it, it's a sign that you're on the right path. It means people are finally starting to notice you, and you're going to get that resistance from people. So,
yeah, that's so awesome. All right, last thing, you can answer this because I think we can kind of jump from where you were to this question. What are examples of personal development live videos? Because I think that's going to be a different answer for every person, but can you kind of give an idea or maybe an example of what that would look like?
Yeah, here's how the video goes. Hey guys, listen, I had to shoot this quick video. I was on this amazing training webinar tonight, and the trainer talked about how to overcome fear. So if you're watching this and you've ever dealt with fear, I just wanted to share something with you that I found so powerful. Here's what he said. Boom. Say what I said. That's it. That's the video. Or if it's your first video ever, here's what you do. All right, guys. I'm a firm believer that if there's something that you're nervous or scared about, acknowledge it in the very beginning. All right, guys. It's my first live. I've been putting this off forever. I'm learning that I need to do Facebook Live because it's going to help me in my business. So here it is. And here's what I want to talk to you about. I've realized that I've been learning a lot of things that have been helping me. And you know what? I'm not an expert and I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I'm trying to get there and I'm learning. And I just want to start sharing with all of you things that I'm learning that are helping me with the hope that it can help you. Here's my tip, a quote I learned. Every one of us has two lives, the life we live and the unlived life within us. It's from a book I just read. And I thought, wow, how powerful is that? Here's what that means to me. Tell a story. Share some perspective. That's it. That's the videos. Like, people are like, I create videos like I talk. Right? Like, I'm never going to run out of things to say because I'm not going to get talker's block.
Yeah, right.
You just talk. Like, you don't need, it doesn't, like, just talk. It doesn't have to be like this super rehearsed thing. Just share something. Tell a story.
It's not like a scripted thing.
Yeah, have fun. Be yourself. Yes, I do have a couple of bullet points when I do a video usually, but I'm just kind of in the moment and I'm talking and I'm sharing and that's the thing that people want to see more than anything.
Yeah, that's all, the authenticity. And I think that's what people are looking for, on social media. And that's what's going to draw them in. I mean, honestly, that's what draws us all to exactly what you're saying. I mean, that to what you share, because it is authentic and you're real and it's just, let me shoot straight. And I think, people are tired of all the smoke and mirrors. We just want to know, hey,
totally,
let me hear it. So I think that's awesome. Well, Bob, it's 9:00 and I don't know, we've taken an hour of your time. I mean, I'm sure we could all sit here all night as long as we could go and listen to your wisdom. I cannot thank you enough for your time and for what you gave us. It's like you said, I have so much to I kind of feel like I've been sitting in front of a fire hydrant trying to take a sip of water. Like, it's hard to drink. There's just so much great content and information. And we really appreciate you taking your time. And I know that that's your heart to serve others and to see them succeed and inspire. I know that that's the reason that you're successful. Yeah.
You got it. My pleasure. Thanks to everybody for your support. And Julie, thanks for having me here tonight. Hopefully you guys got some value. And if there's anything else I can do, let me know. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. My Facebook fan page is Your Virtual Upline. You guys can always message me there, and I'm happy to help any way that I can.
Yes, definitely connect with him online on Facebook. And y'all know I'm always telling you to go watch the videos because they're absolutely amazing. So much great content, and it's like power packed. So thank you so much, Bob. We hope you have a fantastic night, and we will be connecting again. And you're going to hear this team explode. It's going to be a sonic boom because we are taking everything you've said and we are making sure that we apply it and we get active, right? Activity is the answer.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks so much, Bob.
All right. See you guys. Have a great night.
All right. Bye. Thanks. You too.